What's happening in this country with deportation is just another prime example of how America is an absolutely racist country, specifically against black and brown people. I mean, if you really can sit there and say that America is not a racist country, you obviously live with your eyes closed, your ears blocked, and just ignorance is bliss. Because what's happening right now with the deportations is 1,000% racial profiling. If you are brown, if you look Hispanic, God forbid you speak Spanish, God forbid all of the above, you're probably going to be approached, detained, have your window broken by ice, thrown to the ground, put in deplorable conditions. It's sickening. And Trump has just made it okay to be out and proud about racism, and it's despicable. I hate it so much.
Wagwan family, welcome back to my YouTube space. Much love and deep respect to all of you who continue to rise. Much love to all of you who click on this video, because that shows that you want to listen to the truth and you want the change. And I understand that you standing tall in your power as black people is very great. So right now, what we are witnessing today is nothing about or nothing short of divine. It is something spiritual, something ancestral, and something cosmic is shaking the foundation of the lies built by a system that feared the truth of black power. Now, the lies are crumbling right now. And the time, it is not just about black people speaking. Right now, we have their own people speaking. White people are coming out here and creating videos. These white people are those raised in the system. Those who once benefited from silence are coming out. And they are telling the world what many of us, black people, already knew. What many of you already knew. Because the things we are sharing here, it's not new to the eyes or ears of black people. You already knew about this. About racism was never about hate. It was about jealousy. It was about fear. It was about control. We knew that. So, in this commentary today, I'm going to dive deep, and we are going to expose how the system was built on fear of black power, and we will reveal the confession that are coming out or coming from inside the white system, from their dining tables. And the God of black people is pulling curtains. The God of black people is putting the expose out there. I'm going to discuss why some white people are finally speaking and what it means to us. But before I go down to that, I want you to watch this clip of these white brothers and sisters, or white sisters, talking about all what's going on, and then we come back with more banger.
Trump launched his campaign by calling immigrants rapists. That was a message to a subset of white voters. It was a dog whistle. That comment tapped into the age-old racist fear formula that's been around forever, that people of color, especially men, are violent, hypersexual, and dangerous. That lie has been perpetuated to justify lynchings, often with a white woman claiming she was attacked. It justified segregation. It built the prison system. We don't have overfull prisons because of crime. We have them because it feeds the myth that white people are safer when black people are behind bars. And now it justifies cages at the border and in El Salvador. The babies are just collateral damage. We can't have their rapist parents running around loose now, can we? And we're not supposed to say out loud that we're supposed to be afraid of who those little kids are going to grow into. You see that pattern? It's not about crime. It's not about safety. That's a red herring. It's about control. Black people are criminalized through traffic stops, drug laws, and policing strategies that treat skin color as a threat, and racial profiling is a valid way to identify suspects. Immigrants are criminalized with border walls, ICE raids, and detention centers that punish people for seeking sanctuary. If this were about keeping us safe, how would all of those people be the same color? And wouldn't they all have some sort of criminal record? It's not about safety. It's about racism. And when either group, immigrants or black people, speaks up through protests or lawsuits, just tells the truth, they're labeled dangerous. They're treated like terrorists. But the real terrorists are working for the man, the establishment, as we used to say. They're working for the President of the United States. The system Trump is playing into was never designed to give rights to black and brown people. There has never been any intention to make that happen. He has never hinted at it, as his predecessors always did. He sees no reason to pretend anymore. The system was designed to produce labor and silence dissenting voices and distract us from the work that we are doing so that we don't see what's really being done by them. When Trump calls immigrants rapists, he's not just slipping into accidental hyperbole. He's doing what powerful white men have always done, instilling fear to protect their place at the top. Why do you think George W. Bush started his war with Iraq? We were already afraid due to the World Trade Center attacks. It was the perfect time to show how the big, strong president was saving the day, and it was shortly before the election. Why did Trump attack Iran? Well, we're already afraid of what zany antics he's going to perform next. Did you hear that the Pentagon gives him false information so that he won't leak top secret info in his Truth Social tweets? He bombed Iran because he wanted to show us he was a big, manly man after his little parade didn't work out and his feelings were hurt. When Trump calls black communities war zones and says he's the only one who can fix it, that's a sales pitch. It's some art of the deal or some shit. It's a deal that promises white Americans they'll be safe because some other group of people is scapegoated in horrible and inexcusable ways. White people, we've got to stop letting that happen. Because rapist is not just exaggeration or Trump being Trump. It's strategy, and it's time to stop pretending we don't see through it. The immigration crisis is about racism. Political racism is about controlling all of us. Political racism guides and feeds cultural racism, and this culture is full of people who refuse to look any closer than, well, they won't look. I post this stuff in hopes of reaching someone who will join the resistance in their community. White people, these things are not happening to us yet, and that's an important reason for us to speak up. Let the powers that be know that you see what they're doing. Let your neighbors know you're on their side. Get curious.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say the thing as a white woman that you're not supposed to say, but racism is just jealousy. It's just pure, unadulterated jealousy. Because you know what I think every fucking time I see a black woman? Jesus, she is beautiful. Good God, look at her skin. It is so pretty. Every time I see a black woman, I'm just like, oh, you know? And that's how I know. And it's also because I grew up around white people and I know how they are and how they think. And baby, it's just jealousy. Always has been.
It was mostly white people today. White people. And I'm not an emotional person. I don't cry. I don't get emotional. I'm emotional right now because I feel for the first time ever a sense of hope to know that every white person out there is not racist, that not everybody supports Trump, because I'm here in Tennessee and that's how it feels sometimes. But today when I looked at those protests, I saw the streets lined with all kinds of people, but the large majority of white people that said this is enough. We are standing up and it's our time to do for others, to do for those that have been standing behind us for so many years and that have faced so much injustice. Black people have been fighting for years and nothing comes of it. Nothing. They're exhausted. Hispanics can't leave the house. Anybody with brown skin is afraid to even leave the house. So to know that we cared enough today means we're moving in the right direction. And I hope we see this continue, that we stand by our brothers and sisters and fight for them and let everyone know this is not okay.
On my walk this morning, I figured out the one thing that will allow his white supremacist red hat base to leave their orange Jesus. The felonies, they don't care. Tax fraud, the racism, the misogyny, questioning the birth of Barack Obama, our first black president, insulting disabled people, mocking our veterans who actually had the backbone to serve our country, unlike that little bitch, Bone Spurs, cheating on his wife with a porn star while she's at home with their 2-week-old son. Yeah, such Christ-like values, people. The insurrection that led to the death of multiple officers, none of that matters. But if Donald Trump came out as trans today, they would leave the Republican Party within an hour, because you're a bunch of goddamn bigots. You're the biggest bunch of hypocrites that this country has ever seen. You're a bunch of white supremacists that traded in your white hoods for a red hat. You'll accept any level of morality and decency from an uneducated, morally bankrupt, petulant white man with the IQ of a third grader, as long as he makes your racism and your misogyny and your bigotry feel good. But Paul, being trans is outside of the design of God. Yeah, and everything else wasn't, but as long as they're white, hey, you know, nobody's perfect. So y'all can screw the hell off. You're a bunch of damn bigots.
White people would rather lose democracy than give black and brown people access to it. And the way that America is responding to the ICE protests and the Palestinian protests just proves this. Who the state tries to protect and who it tells you is a threat shows you who it was built for. You notice the military was never called in for January 6th, but somehow they're called in for the ICE protests. 2, white people always confuse control with safety. And this is because whiteness believes in a power hierarchy. And this power hierarchy represents a spectrum of color, with white males at the top and everyone else in descending order. Any perceived threat to the control of white males is met with an incredibly exaggerated and emotional response, while real threats to the physical safety of black and brown bodies are considered irrelevant and minimized. And any attempt by the press or others to highlight this threat is squashed. Which leads us to number 3 and what this country was built on, which is white grievance politics is happy to burn down the whole house. From blocking voting rights bills to militarized crackdowns, a huge percentage of white Americans are willing to shrink democracy itself rather than share it and care for all the citizens. Democracy isn't a privilege reserved for a few. It's a promise that must be defended for everyone. When we fight for immigrant justice, racial equality, the right to the LGBTQIA community, and environmental justice, we don't just expand democracy, we safeguard it. Because if we don't fight for democracy and justice for all, we risk losing it entirely. I hope this helps.
This one's for the Southern men, not the politicians, not the bootlickers in Washington pretending to know bourbon from Boone's Farm. No, I'm talking to the good old boys, the poor but proud, the ones who can bait a hook and throw a punch, the ones who cry at funerals and grin through pain and tip their hats even when the world spits in their face. The ones that sound like me and look like me and were raised like me, but somewhere out here on this long stretch of American decline, you've lost the damn map. What in the holy goddamn hell happened to you? Once upon a time, a Southern man was many things, some good, some bad, but almost always real. You could hear it in the callous vowels of his draw and see it in the crack of his knuckles. stood for something. He stood up even when the wind blew hard against him. He didn't need a flag the size of a billboard or a Facebook profile soaked in eagles and assault rifles to prove he loved his home. He just lived it, quietly and fiercely, with a bite and a laugh. And now your heroes are Donald Trump Jr., a taxidermed mannequin in a vast pro vest, and Eric Trump, a human gaff, J.D. Vance, who sells Appalachian grit like it's a can of soup, and Tom Cotton, a poster boy for robotic boot polishers. These are your Marlboro men? These aren't Southern men. They aren't even men in the sense my grandfather meant it. They're simpering little power fetishists in tailored camouflage, chugging masculinity supplements and playing Patriot on sound stages built by Wall Street. If these boys walked into the Quintet Clubs in Helena, Arkansas, they wouldn't make it past the jukebox. My granddaddy would have squinted at them, growled, and then beat the ever-living dog shit out of them just out of instinct. He barfought like it was a second job, and not because he was proud of it necessarily. He actually rarely spoke of it. But because where we come from, there's a language older than words. And sometimes in a world full of liars and leeches, a fist is just shorthand for don't tread on me. He didn't fight for ego. He fought to defend the sacred ground between the front porch and the bar stool. And if you walked in greasy, smug, and full of yourself, the kind of man who'd lie to the waitress and kick a dog, he made sure you left different than you arrived. Donald Trump is just a New York greaseball with hands softer than an overripe peach and a mouth that runs like it's late to a poker game. His sons are worse. Soulless little guys dipped in deer piss and bravado. Junior, with his desperate little beard and his safari outfit, looks like a guy who tries to start fights at Little League games and calls security if it gets sideways. Eric, God bless him, is the kind of guy you'd hand a hammer and spend the next hour and a half watching him try to unscrew a nail. They're not men. They're just hair-gelled cartoons playing lumberjack. They don't work. They don't serve. They don't sacrifice. They don't build or fix or do a goddamn thing but inherit money and lie about it. And yet somehow these are the new standard by which manhood is measured. My God, how far we've fallen. They exhibit nothing, not one thing that we were raised to believe makes a man. Not courage, not humility, not grit, not loyalty, not strength of heart, or spine, or word. They sweat when it's humid, they pout when it's hard, and they run when it's dangerous. They wouldn't last 5 minutes under a tractor. They wouldn't know how to change their own oil. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying violence is a virtue or that bar fights make a man. I don't think manhood is some holy grail to be earned through broken noses. That's cheap thinking. That's the kind of thinking they sell now. Packaged rage, televised chest beating, a bunch of cosplay cowboys co-signing each other's insecurities on cable news. Manliness isn't in your fist or your flag decals. It's in the quiet things, the hard things, the true things. And these boys you worship now wouldn't last 5 minutes in the world you walk through daily. The part that turns my stomach is this. A Southern man, a real one, wouldn't stand for how these clowns behave in public, not toward his wife, not toward his daughters, not toward his children or anyone else's for that matter. He damn sure wouldn't let some orange-tinted loudmouth mock a disabled person or insult a widow, brag about assault or spit bile at working folks just trying to get by. His mother would have slapped his mouth clean off for half the things these men say, and his grandmother wouldn't even have wasted her breath. We were raised by steel and iron women in church dresses who carried casseroles in one hand and consequences in the other, and now you fly flags with a man's name on them. You worship him like a savior, and you can say you voted for the lesser of two evils if you want, maybe you did, but when you defend him, when you excuse him, when you wave his banner like it's a Stars and Stripes Reborn, you're not just complicit, you've already sold your soul. And I don't pretend to have the definition of manhood carved in stone. In fact, I think most definitions are too brittle and break under real pressure. But I do know what it's not. It's not inherited money and gold-plated toilets. It's not screaming on a stage while other people fight your wars and pay your debts. It's not throwing tantrums on television and calling it truth. No. A man is what he does when the storms come. A man is how he treats people who can't do a damn thing for him. A man is what he says when no one is looking, and how he loves when no one else understands. And these slick-haired frauds wouldn't recognize that man if he offered to help him jumpstart their helicopter. We're the truth tellers. The ones who called out bullshit even when it came from their own side, the ones who didn't kneel to power or party, the ones who didn't want a king, but dared to be goddamn citizens. We have never been perfect down here. God knows the South has blood in its roots and ghosts in its halls, but at least we did have some kind of honor. Raw and flawed, but ours. But now we have cowards playing cowboy and wrapping themselves in Dixie nostalgia while licking the boots of northern con men. If you told my grandfather that one day Southern men would kneel, God help us, before Yankees with gold toilets and fake tans, he'd have thought you were drunk or possessed by the devil. But here we are. Many once stared down hard times, now waiting in line to be knighted by a game show host. You've made a liar of my grandfather. He told me we don't bend, we don't cower. We speak truth even when it's costly, that you measure a man not by the flags on his truck, but by the weight of his word. We stand on dirt, not marble. That a Southern man for his sins never kisses the ring. And now I see you cheer for the ringmaster and beg to be shackled to him. So let me tell you this. From one of your own, from someone who still walks the same black dirt and still sings the old songs, stand up. Stop kneeling for fools. Stop praising cowards. Reclaim whatever dignity that once defined you. Not through cruelty and not through guns or flags or chance, but through truth and courage. Through the goddamn backbone that built barns and fought wars and buried family. You used to be better than this. Hell, we used to be better than this. Don't let it die with you. We're Southerners. We're unfit for crowns. We're too proud to bow and too tough to follow weak men with gold names and borrowed backbones. Let the South be known for its integrity and dignity. Let it remember what we claim to be and not what the world thinks we are. We've proven them right so goddamn often, I'm not sure we know how to prove them wrong. But for the love of God and biscuits, let's try.
Welcome back. Now, there was a time when white people denied everything. There was a time when white people denied racism. They denied white privilege. They denied systematic injustice. But now some of them can't hold it anymore. Videos are going viral of white people, white men, white women, admitting things they were once buried. Not because they want attention, but because their guilty is too heavy and their silence has become a burden. Always, as a human being, every one of us, we are human beings. Whatever is happening behind the curtains, if it's not for us, if it is painful, if it's a lie, one day it will come out. Some of them are saying things like, we knew what the system was doing to black people. Others are saying we were taught to fear you, to see you as threats, to keep you from rising. This is not about a few bad cops of some racist teachers. No. This whole thing is about a system that was designed to keep black people locked out. It was designed to keep black people locked down. And now that some of these white people are speaking out, we are hearing the truth loud and clear. And that is a plus to us. But it's not something to celebrate about because we are not celebrating yet. The justice system wasn't about justice. The justice system was about fear. The prison system wasn't about crime. It was about containment. The education system wasn't about learning. It was about rewriting history. And they have admitted that putting black people in jail wasn't just about punishment. It was about suppressing potential. It was about stopping the rise of the people who have endured everything and still they still shine, because black people, they go through a lot of shit. They have gone through a lot of problems, but they still rise. They still build culture. They still flourish wherever they are doing, in everything they are doing. They are still generating or creating things. They are still the talk of the town. We have to understand what this fear was rooted in. The fear wasn't just physical. It was spiritual. It was emotional. It was something cultural. White supremacy at this core is not to build on coincidence, or it was not built on confidence. It was built on insecurity. It is built on the knowledge that black people, even under pressure, still lead. Black people, even under pressure, still create. They still inspire. Being clear is that black people didn't enslave. We did not colonize. We didn't rewrite history books to erase others. But even after all black people endured, from transatlantic slavery to Jim Crow, from apartheid to mass incarceration, black people still carry rhythm in our bones, genius in our minds, and light in our spirit. We never fell down. And that is what they feared. They designed or they disguised jealousy as justice. They turned insecurity into policy. They made laws not to protect the public, but to control black growth. And the truth is, they couldn't replicate our greatness as black people, so they criminalized it. They couldn't match our innovation, so they sabotaged it. And now some of them are coming out and admitting it. And it is just confirming what black people have been saying all along. It's just about confirming it. This is not new confession. It's not something that we need, oh, let's celebrate because white brothers are coming out. No, 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 no. This is just confirming what black people are saying all along. They feared that if we ever got a fair chance, we will lead the world as well. And let me say this. The Most High is exposing everything right now. This is not just social and or political. This is spiritual warfare. We are in a divine season. You can feel that. We are in a divine season where the Most High is tearing the veil of the lies. He is revealing what was hidden. He is shaking systems, and the truth is being exposed, not by accident, but by divine timing. The God of black people, the same God who guided our ancestors through slavery, the same God who guided our ancestors through colonization and oppression, is the same God now revealing every deception, the false history, the fake science, the propaganda, the lies about who we are all being burned in the fire of truth. Oh, you get me? Because right now, we are seeing white people questioning the lies they were taught. We are seeing black people reconnecting with the African identity. We are seeing diaspora communities coming together. We are seeing Pan-Africanism rising again. The awakening is global. And it is not coincidence. When the world tried to break us, the Most High preserved us. When they tried to destroy our spirit, He restored us. And now, He is revealing the truth to the world. And this is why we are seeing more and more people speaking out. The light is exposing the darkness. And even those who once benefited from the system can't stomach the lies anymore. What once worked for the white system is now working against it. They made, or the media, they made the manipulation. The media used to manipulate black people, but it's now exposing. The internet used to spread propagandas. Now it is spreading truth. The classrooms used to lie. Now the streets are teaching real history. The curse is breaking. We not go lie that. No longer we are walking in shame. We are no longer accepting lies about who we are. Right now, black children are being raised to love their skin, their hair, their history. Black adults are walking in boldness, refusing to shrink to anyone. And even white people are beginning to say, we were wrong. Some are even apologizing. This is divine reversal. The same prison they filled with black men are now filling with white men too, white-collar criminals. The same economics built on black exploitation is crumbling. The same religious institutions that demonized African spirituality are being exposed. And this is because God is no longer silent, because the ancestors are no longer ignored, because the truth is no longer buried. And this is not just history. This is not about history correcting itself. It is heaven correcting injustices. Now, I said this. This is not something to celebrate about because white brothers and sisters are coming out. It's not something to celebrate. What we need to do as black people, first, unity. I always talk about unity. Whether you are in Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Haiti, Atlanta, London, Jamaica, South Africa, name all of those places, we are one people and we must stop letting borders divide us. The same lie that was used to enslave our ancestors is the same lie that told us we are different. Okay? Second, we have to build. Let's stop begging and start building schools, start building businesses, farms, tech companies, banks, etc., etc. We have the talent and spirit to build what we need. Third, we need to love black, protect black women, support black men, raise proud black children, uplift black elders, love blackness loudly and apologetically. That is rule number one. It must be number one. Love black. If you love black, be proud of black, everything goes well. Fourth, we need to reject the enemy's narrative. Stop letting them define who we are. We are not criminals. We are not threats. We are not inferior. We are the original people. We have to know that we are divines and we are the chosen one. Okay? The fifth one and the last one, what I want us to do as black people, return to the source. Return to the source. Okay? Reclaim your spiritual power. Study African history. Learn your roots. Connect to the ancestors. Okay? Read the sacred text. Seek the Most High. Pray. Meditate fast. This battle is spiritual. You have to know that. And we must be spiritual equipped. You get me? We must be spiritual equipped. Family, what we are witnessing is the collapse of a system and the rise of a people. Okay? The lies are no longer working. The fear tactics are no longer effective. And the truth is being told, even from the mouths of those who once tried to silence it. Okay? The God of black people is not just exposing lies. He is restoring dignity. He is awakening purpose. And he is calling his people back to greatness. So stand tall, speak boldly, walk in power, because this is our time. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Until next episode, peace out.